Hello folks, yeah, we're live, I think, hopefully. I'm sure someone at some point will let me know that we are. I'm going to bring it up on my other screen here so I can see what the hell's going on. Do forgive me. Oh yeah, there we are. See what's going on now, and I can actually see when you're commenting. I'm making a bow at the moment. I actually need to make some more marks on this. Find the right equipment. Well, thank you for joining me for the inaugural test of going live the other day, which I believe was yesterday, the day before. It didn't go massively to plan. I didn't really know what I was doing with the camera, where to position it, or anything. Yeah, please forgive me. We had a few questions, and the whole point of doing this is so that people can ask me questions on making bows and arrows and what you want to hear about. Obviously, I do that through YouTube. We do a lot of videos on how to make various bits and pieces and various things, but with YouTube, they're generally, well, they take a lot longer to make. They're on subjects where I've got to do a lot of videoing, and yeah, so this way it's a bit more personal. You can ask something straight away. I'm going to call it Streaming Thursdays. I'm trying to think of a day that rhymes with it. I mean, obviously you could have Streaming Saturday or Streaming Sundays, but no one really likes to do stuff at the weekend. And also, it sounds a bit like something that you've got to go to the doctor about, doesn't it? Oh, I've got to touch the Streaming Sundays. So Streaming Thursdays it is. So Thursdays, I'm going to try and do this. If people want it, if people tune in and you want to see what's going on, then great. I don't know whether anyone's particularly commenting yet. I think there's a few of you there. Okay, that's great. Now, what was I going to show you first? Oh yeah, that's right. I was going to show you making a arrow. We were going to do some binding. I think it was Barry. Barry asked about doing some binding. People are telling me the top of my head's missing. Do you want to see my head? You want to see what I'm doing, don't you? All right, you can see my head as well. Fair enough. Let me alter this. Is that any better? See the top of my head now? Is that better? I don't know why you want to see the top of my head, but there you go. Yeah, Barry was, he actually asked me to make a rocket. I did try and explain I'm not a rocket engineer, but I'm going to have a go later on, just for you, Barry. And this is also for you, Barry, the bit of binding that you're talking about. I've got my fairy bottle there, and got me bit of wings that I'm going to try and stick them through. You know, they used to get a fairy bottle. It used to be round like a rocket, but now it's like that. But anyway, there we go. So we'll try that later on. Now, what Barry was asking about was the neatness and the tightness of these. I don't know whether these really show up on this camera or not, but there you are. Have a look. Now, he was saying, how do you get it that tight? How do you get it that neat? Well, with that, it's sounding glib. It's through practice. Now, there is one way of practicing that people may not have thought of, and that is to just do the binding and take the binding off instead of finishing off at the top. You can just take the binding away again and start again, because often when people buy their equipment from us, they're obviously desperate to make their set of arrows. They make them up, glue them all up, and they're off shooting them. If you could spend a little bit of time actually practicing it before you do the finishing off, before you glue it, you should be able to get them neater and tighter. Also, don't worry about it. As long as the binding's on there, the whole point of the binding is to keep the feather on. Obviously nowadays you don't necessarily need to do it with the waterproof and modern and good glue that we have now. It's really only for effect. We're trying to achieve that medieval look. I'm going to show you a way of starting off. I have done videos on this before, which I'll include once this video goes onto the page after I finish going live. It reminds me of that Saturday morning programme. What was it, the Philip Schofield Going Live? Anyway, make a little bit like that. So just pinch the end of the string, and that will help you start it off onto the arrow. If I come over here, you might be able to see what I'm doing. I hope you can. You can actually put that along the edge of the fletch. I hope that's coming out on the video. And it gives you something to hold with your finger to get that started. And then with the other thumb, I catch that end. So that end is then caught. And I can begin to go up the arrow. Again, I hope that's coming out on the video. God knows whether it is. There we are. So we've wanged that bottom section of the feather on there. You can then begin the binding. Now, as I was saying, you don't need to do it ultra super completely tight like these. You don't need to make them so tight that I think you can hopefully see that. You don't really need to do that. It's not massively necessary. With this, you could do just say a fletch this size, which is I think this is a 5-inch fletch, 5.5-inch fletch, which I cut down to a medieval sort of shape, a triangular shape. You can probably get away with 5, or say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So about 5 times round there on the shaft. That's more than enough to hold it on, and then you can do the finishing off at the top as you wish. But as I say, without finishing it off, you can just completely start again. You don't need to. There you are. You can just start again, so you can try a little bit more further down this time. There, making sort of centimetre in between each. So you can start with that, and then once you've got the hang of that, you can undo that. And then start again and just make it even tighter, make it even narrower around. There I'm going sort of 0.5 centimetre round. Again, I don't know how well this is showing up on the video. But you get the idea. You don't need to immediately have to go straight to doing it so tight. If I show you the next sort of stage up, where you're doing just a few parts of the feather, you're only splitting a very minimal amount of the feather, and you're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And once you've got the hang of it, then yes, obviously you can start getting it in tight and neat as you like to do it. It's entirely up to you. It isn't massively necessary to have it incredibly tight and incredibly neat. I've been making them for probably 20+ years, so of course they're neat. I'm fairly fastidious anyway. I'm quite fussy. And also, yeah, I've had lots and lots and lots of practice, so yes, they do end up being quite neat and quite close together. And really the only examples we got as far as period examples is, well, the Mary Rose, really, quite honestly, is certainly as far as a large number of arrows, which allows us to make some sort of comparison to see whether the work is of a particular type. Then yes, it's very, very neat, and the gap between the bindings is very small. Was that necessary? Maybe not. Were those arrows made particularly well because of the ship that they were on, because of the person they were made for, being the king? Or was that number of bindings absolutely necessary to keep the feathers on because of the type of glues that were used? Well, that's probably up for debate. Personally, I don't think it needs to be quite so tight and quite so neat. Again, it depends how much time you have, whether you've got the French knocking at your door and you're trying to kill them straight away. Not that we kill French anymore, of course. So that's it. But I hope that's for you, Barry. I hope that helps. So to summarise, take as much time as you like. Do a few dry runs on an arrow like that. Don't be so keen to finish the kit that you're making at the time. Take some time to practice, which will mean the next set of arrows that you do make, you'll have had a lot more practice, rather than someone like me who obviously has to make thousands and thousands of arrows. Therefore, I'm getting practice anyway, without specifically making a set for myself. And the other thing you wanted to see was me to make a rocket, which I'll do now. So I've got my fairy bottle, I've got my wings. I'm going to put that in through there. Well, I need to cut a gap, don't I? And then I can make the right. I can get this. There you go. So it's not like the old bottles that we used to have, is it? They used to be sort of a round shape. They used to be like oh shit. Right. It's not actually empty. So okay, it's going all over the floor. I'm gonna have to go because I'm getting very washing liquid. Other liquids are available. Sorry.